Good morning, Tech fam. It's Thursday, October 2nd, and you're listening to FLYTECH Daily, the podcast that makes your morning smarter in 10 minutes or less.
For our first topic, Apple's clapping back at Elon Musk's AI lawsuit.
For our second topic, Ford and GM are playing lease gymnastics to keep EV tax credits alive.
For our third topic, Porsche just revealed the future of dashboards with Cayenne EV.
For our fourth topic, OpenAI Sora 2 turns deepfakes into a product.
And for our fifth topic, the UK is back at it again, demanding Apple weaken encryption. Let's fly.
For our first topic, Apple is hitting back at Elon Musk over claims its OpenAI partnership is crushing AI competition. But Apple's lawyers just told a federal judge those claims are quote-unquote speculation on top of speculation. They think Musk's case is a conspiracy theory dressed in a lawsuit.
Apple also stressed the deal with OpenAI isn't exclusive. In fact, they've hinted they'll work with multiple chatbots, not just ChatGPT.
Musk has been on a mission to slow down OpenAI ever since he split from them back in 2018. He's framed Apple as picking favorites in AI, but Apple's saying we're just putting Siri on steroids.
This is about who controls the gateway to consumers. If Apple makes ChatGPT default on iPhones, that's hundreds of millions of pockets locked in overnight. So Nick, what's a takeaway for our beautiful listeners?
Apple just reminded Elon Musk you need proof before you make claims.
For our second topic, Ford and GM are finding a creative way to keep EV sales buzzing after the federal $7,500 tax credit expired yesterday.
According to reports, both automakers are channeling their finance divisions to scoop up EVs from dealers, then lease them back to shoppers at a price that includes the credit.
Basically, it's tax credit limbo. The IRS said the credit expired on September 30th for purchases, but leases, those fall into a loophole.
For shoppers, it means you can still get a cheaper Ford F-150 Lightning and Chevy Blazer EV this fall if you lease instead of buy.
EV sales are booming over the summer as buyers rush to beat the deadline. Without this move, demand could have fallen off.
But risk alert, Ford and GM are eating the cost if these EVs sit unsold on lots. So Michelle, what's the takeaway for our EV drivers?
Ford and GM just turned leasing into the new coupon code.
For our third topic, Porsche just teased the Cayenne Electric interior, and it's basically a concept car that made it into production.
The Star, a curved OLED flow display that stretches down vertically across the dashboard. Imagine your iPad bent into a waterfall.
Porsche says its largest screen ever, they made nearly 42 inches if you unrolled it.
And it's not just eye candy. It runs on Porsche's brand new operating system, has AI-powered voice controls, and even lets the passenger stream Netflix. And it's not just eye candy. It runs on Porsche's brand new operating system, has AI-powered voice controls, and even lets the passenger stream Netflix.
Porsche gas car sales have been sliding, but their EVs are up 14% year over year. This is Porsche saying if Tesla made you tired of screens, here's a better one with actual buttons.
They kept physical controls for volume, AC, and defrost because surveys show drivers missing buttons. So, Nick, what's the takeaway for our Porsche listeners?
Porsche's Cayenne EV isn't just a car, it's a luxury theater on wheels, but the popcorn's not included.
For our fourth topic, OpenAI dropped Sora 2, the sequel to its video AI model.
One demo showed Sam Altman drinking from a giant mango juice box, except it wasn't really Sam Altman or a juice box or real at all.
That's the point. Sora 2 creates hyperrealistic video and audio, basically deepfakes on demand.
And this time it's reliable. Early versions were like slot machines. You put in a prompt and who knows what came out. Now it actually listens.
Deepfake tech has been creeping into politics, scams, and entertainment. OpenAI is trying to get ahead by making its mainstream before bad actors do.
But it opens a scary door. But you can't really trust video evidence. So what happens to the truth? So Michelle, what's the takeaway for our AI users?
With Sora 2, seeing is no longer believing.
For our fifth and final topic, the UK government is demanding Apple build a backdoor into iCloud for British users.
The technical term, a technical capability notice. Translation, Hey Apple, give us a master key.
This comes just months after the US said the UK had backed down on global access demands. Turns out they just narrowed it to British citizens.
Apple already pulled advanced data protection from the UK earlier this year because they said they'd never compromised on encryption.
Privacy advocates warn that once you break that end-to-end encryption in one place, it's broken everywhere. Hackers, foreign governments, and bad actors don't respect borders.
So, Nick, what's a takeaway for our UK listeners?
The UK wants Apple to unlock iCloud. Apple's holding the keys and throwing them into the Thames River.
All right, Nick, let's wrap up these takeaways.
For our first topic, Apple's AI deal is unfair. Apple says Musk is speculating harder than a Reddit investor, though.
For our second topic, Ford and GM just invented lease hacks to keep EVs moving with the tax credits.
For our third topic, Porsche Cayenne EVs turning dashboards into waterfalls of OLED.
For our fourth topic, OpenAI Sora 2 makes video lies look truthier than ever.
And for our fifth and final topic, the UK wants Apple to break iCloud, but encryption doesn't come with a dimmer switch.
That's all for today's FLYTECH Daily, 5 tech stories under 10 minutes.
We read all these stories so you wouldn't have to. So go ahead and leave us a 5-star review because that's the only review we'll accept. Tune in tomorrow. Peace.